Good morning. Welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we're finishing up my guitar collection with part 2. Today we're looking at my acoustics. So we're going to be going over my steel string, my Taylor, my 2 nylon strings, and my Ibanez hollow body. All right. So this will conclude my guitar collection. 8 guitars in total, 4 today, and then 4 on the solid body electrics video. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. It should be the Theory Thursday that was right before this one, so last week. Today I have on my Mickey Mouse watch. And I'm wearing my gold tweed tie today. Feeling very gold with my gold jacket. So, anyway, let's get to it. Okay, starting off the acoustics, I have my Taylor 414 CE. This particular guitar was made in June of 2014, and I bought it right at the end of 2014. I remember it very well because I got a great deal on it. I had just gotten some Christmas money from my grandparents, and I needed a new acoustic guitar. I was halfway through freshman year of college, going to school for music, and I needed an upgrade. So we went to Guitar Center. This was in Minnesota. And we were I tried out a bunch of acoustics. I knew I needed a steel string because I had a classical at the time. And I played this one, and I really liked it. But there was a price tag, and I was willing to pay it. However, the sales associate came back, said, you know what? We actually have a crazy deal on this because the 2015 model had just come out and they had it, and this was the old year. This was old news at that point. So I don't remember what exactly the deal was. I got a crazy good deal on this, and I thought, why not? This is the one I wanted anyway. So that's when I got it, right at the end of 2014. It's Indian rosewood, back and sides, and a Sitka spruce top that you can see there. The C, so it's a 414, that's the model, CE. The C stands for cutaway, and the E stands for electronics, basically. Taylor has what's called, they created it, an expression system, and that's all it is. So it's your volume, your bass, your treble, and then you got your on and off switch in here. That's just how it works. There's a piezo pickup underneath the nut, or the saddle, and that's how it picks up the sounds. As far as the 414, I didn't get a lot of information on it. I'm pretty sure the 400 series may have started in the mid to late 90s, and they've been running since then. The lower the number, the less upgrades. So there's a 400, there's a 410. So I have the 414, and that's all I know. So I really just bought it because I like the way it sounded. So I've used this for almost a decade now, and it's been my go-to guitar for pretty much any gig I have. If it's not jazz or classical, this is it. Everything from folk to country, and even R&B stuff. If there's just a need for acoustics, so I'll just play a little for you. Jazz. Folk. played a lot of solo on this. So, I mean, I played a lot of country and like rock covers. do much of that these days. But this guitar has been everywhere with me. It's my go-to. It's probably my most played acoustic. And I think that's all I have to say about this one. The Taylor 414 CE. Next up, we have my Cordoba GK Studio, part of the Iberia series. This I've had since about 2013. We bought it. I say we because my parents helped with this. I had decided I wanted to go to school for guitar. Music in general, and then it narrowed into guitar. And my guitar teacher at the time said, you're not ready for that. First of all, we need to do this, this, and this. You might want to look at upgrading this, this, and this, yada, yada, yada. So I got pretty serious pretty quick. And we went out and I needed a classical. I needed a nylon string. And with the limited knowledge I had, I just started looking, started playing. And we ended up on this one. And there was a few things I didn't know about it, and now I do. So it's pretty unique, actually. These are, I mean, it's not your most expensive. They're made in China, Cordoba. They're great guitars, even great starter guitars. I still have this one. I still play it. It's a spruce top. Cypress back and sides. Now, with the lower price, I was happy to see, I even knew this at the time, was the electronics are Fishman, which I'm a big fan of the Fishman gang. I have 2 of the Fishman amps, a loud box and a carrier one that just runs on battery. It's great. I swear by those amps. This guitar is a slightly thinner version of a traditional Spanish guitar or classical guitar. The part that I didn't know what it was when I got it is, let's see if I can get the light on it. There is a plastic, I mean, you could almost call it a sticker. And you can kind of see the outline of it there. So it comes all the way across here, down, and then all the way across back, and it rounds back up. And that is for what we call flamenco. So flamenco is a style and genre of music that originated in southern Spain, and it's instantly recognizable when you hear it. But they use this to tap on the board, and it's to protect the top of the guitar. If you didn't know, the tops of these guitars are as thin as they can make them, because the thinner it is, the more it vibrates. The more it vibrates, the more sound we can get out, not just out of this little hole, but through the actual wood. So it's really cool. But having a thin layer of wood, you don't want to be too rough with it. So they put on this plastic stick. Well, I call it a sticker. I'm sure there's a more technical name for it. But it's to protect the wood so you can use your fingernails. So flamenco. Now, I haven't ever trained in flamenco, so I just know that little lick there. So I that's why it was a surprise to me. So I own a flamenco guitar. I don't play flamenco. So I used this through the better part of my college career. I used this as a classical guitar before I got my Carrington, which we'll go to next. But this served me well. It was a little bit difficult as I continued on through my schooling, because flamenco, there are a couple things that make it a flamenco guitar. First of all, the plastic fingernail pad here. Second of all, the action on a flamenco guitar is lower than your normal classical, where you're playing Baroque style stuff. So it's easier to get fret buzz. So there's no fret buzz. And there's fret buzz, depending on how hard you're digging into these strings. In flamenco music and even gypsy jazz, that's not an issue. It's part of the sound. It's part of the song. It's part of the genre to get that fret buzz. Now, when you're trying to play Bach, you don't want any fret buzz. So that's where I started to run into problems. Still, even today, I still use this guitar as a teaching tool. If I am going somewhere where I don't know what I'll be plugging into, or what kind of style of music I'm going to be. Maybe it's a new student and I don't know exactly what they want to be learning yet. This is the guitar I grab because I'm not afraid to bring it anywhere. I've had it forever, and I've used it everywhere. I've played it everywhere, and I'm just not afraid to get it dinged up and stuff like that. So it's really a workhorse. I use this thing everywhere. So that's the Cordoba GK Studio. And yeah, let's go to the next one. Okay, my most prized guitar. This is my Carrington. I call it a Carrington because there's no actual brand name on this. There's a guy down in Texas who makes these, and his name is Chris Carrington. If you're interested in any of these guitars, he's an amazing luthier. You can go to chriscarrington.com and see all of his work. It's just fantastic. By far the nicest guitar I've ever owned, let alone played. I talked about my Cordoba being my workhorse and not afraid to bring anywhere. Here's the other side of the spectrum. If I have shows and concerts, I'll bring this out and I'll practice on this, but I'm not bringing this out into lessons. I'm not bringing it out into, gigs on Broadway or anything where something might happen to it. So this is my Carrington. There's some cool features on this. First of all, this is a 2009 model, and he can only get them out so fast. So this is guitar number 262. I think it's cool to even have that, to know what number guitar this is that he's made. I bought it from a guy who had purchased it originally, so this is technically used, but it's still got a ton of life left in it. So this was created July 2009. I picked it up from the original owner in 2017, right at the end of my college career. So I was a junior in university. And so for my senior year, I had, or this last half of my senior year, I had this Carrington. And wow, what an upgrade from the Cordoba. Chris Carrington, though, interesting guy. He grew up in Venezuela and then New York. He's been all over. He's been on a bunch of guitar faculties because he's also a great player. He now resides in Texas. And like I said, you can go to chriscarrington.com. This particular guitar is Indian rosewood, back and sides. Just a beautiful dark wood. The top is cedar, and the fretboard is ebony. And he uses other stuff as well. It's all there on his website if you go to the gallery. The little cool things he does differently. First of all, the headstock. I've never seen a headstock like that where there's no connection here. I thought that was interesting. But for some more useful things, you'll see this. This is what he calls the sound port. So when you're playing classical, usually you sit traditional style like this. Now what you can see is this hole is pointing right up to me. So it acts as a direct monitor for me, so I can hear better what's going on, whereas the sound hole in the sound board is for everyone else. So I think that's really cool. And even if you're not into it, he puts magnets in the wood, and you get a little circular piece of wood that also has magnets on it. You just plop it on, and it stays there with the magnets. So I think that's just the coolest thing. I always leave it off so I can hear what's going on, but I think that's super cool. The other thing he does differently was, if you take a look at this, it looks normal, right? Normal input jack. However, this is not normal. Most guitars come out in mono, in a mono waveform, right? Which means you can plug it into an amp. You'd only need one cord. However, this comes out in stereo. There's actually two pickups in this guitar. First of all, like a regular acoustic or classical, there's a piezo pickup right under the saddle here. But, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there's a microphone in the body of the guitar, also hooked up. And then there's a battery pack right there that you can kind of see. right there. So you have two forms of pickups, and if you have, you can also hook this up regular cord, a mono cable. If you hook it up regular, you'll only get this piezo pickup. However, if you have a stereo cable, which I have, I just didn't get out, it has one end to hook up, and then at the end it splits off into two cables. So it'll take both sounds and you can mix them. So for example, my Fishman Loud box has two inputs, typically for two instruments or a guitar and a microphone, but you can plug both of them in. One's going to be the microphone and one's going to be the piezo. So that's the first time I'd ever seen that. I think it's unique and cool. So, but this guitar I pretty much exclusively use for classical performances, shows, and practicing. I don't teach on it, and I don't gig on it. So. A little out of tune there. So that's my Chris Carrington guitar, number 262. Let's see what we got next. All right, this is a guitar that everyone has seen, hopefully by now, because it's what I use on all my videos, on my tune videos. If I'm playing jazz standards, this is the guitar I use. Nowadays, this is my most played guitar, my most practiced on, my most gigged on, my most performed on. I bring this thing everywhere with me. I got this in 2017 because at the end of my college career, I was in university in guitar performance with a double major in music business. And my professor said, you know what, John, you were really heading into this jazz direction. You might want to think about, going all in on that. He said, I'll never forget this. He said, no matter what you do, just make sure there's some jazz part of it because you really connect with that. So I said, you know what? You're right. I love jazz. And immediately started going out and looking for a hollow body, a jazz box. Because up until then, all I had was my Epiphone Les Paul, which I can put a picture here. That was my first electric, and it had humbuckers, so it was, you could get a darker sound out of it. And it was better than a Strat for jazz, but it was a little funny. You didn't have the hollow sound, the airy noise you get with it. And it did look a little funny when I would go to gigs with my professor when he had his nice Heritage jazz box, and I'd show up with my Epiphone Les Paul looking like Slash, right? So I wanted a new guitar. I wanted a real jazz box that I could play on. And I wasn't looking to spend a lot of money. I just wanted enough to be able to, I just wanted it not to be a toy. You know what I mean? So I could actually gig with it and use it for years to come. So I got this in 2017. It's an Ibanez AF75. It's part of their Art Core series. I have looked at upgrading into the AF95, has a nice flame maple top. The AF2000 looks really nice, but I've just never needed to. This guitar, it's under $1,000. I want to say it was $499 when I bought it in 2017, and worth every penny. I've not needed to upgrade anything. I know a lot of people upgrade the tuners, a lot of people upgrade the pickups, a lot of people upgrade the bridge here. I just haven't needed to. I'm very content with this, very happy with it. And I've had it for years. The weird thing about mine though is the serial number. A lot of times you can go online and search Fender serial number lookup or Gibson serial number lookup, and you can type in your serial number and it'll tell you, okay, this guitar was made this month, this year, and it was made in Indonesia or Japan or whatever. Ibanez, however, has a lot of factories, And there's actually a lot of factories, if you didn't know this, there's a lot of factories that make multiple guitar brands, even if it's the tuners. There's a lot of factories, we call them OEM. They make a tuner and then they send it off for someone else to put their brand on it. So Ibanez has a lot of that. Every company has it. However, this particular guitar has a serial number that starts PW, and no serial number lookup that I have tried has been able to find this. So I went searching, and apparently other people have been having this problem as well. What I do know about it, it's made in Indonesia. Everyone else who's had the same problem, same thing. Their guitars were made in Indonesia. However, whatever factory was using PW, I don't know if it's closed down now or if it was the wrong code that they were using. There's no history of it. So there are Ibanez's out there with serial numbers starting in PW, and no one knows where they came from. So I did have a scare where I was like, is it a real Ibanez? Maybe it's a knockoff, but no, it's the real deal. It's just we don't know what factory in Indonesia this came from. So I thought that was interesting. As for wood, they say it's linden wood. The whole body is, which is basswood is the other name for that. So it's a real cheap wood. It's light though, man, it's light, and I kind of like it. The NATO neck, which is just another wood, and yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. I know it has electronics in it, but I kept it for the acoustic video because, I mean, technically it is an acoustic guitar. You can play. And also, so I could have 4 and 4. I had 4 solid body electrics and 4 acoustics. 8 total guitars in my collection. I don't think I have anything else to say about this one, other than I highly recommend it. If you've been looking for a starter jazz guitar, I can't recommend this one enough, just because of the beginner price, and it's quality. At least mine has been. I've played this almost every day since I've had it, and gigged with it and everything. I have a link to it if you're interested somewhere in the bio or the description. And yeah, that's that. So as always, if you have any questions about anything, let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. But other than that, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, or if it was just for enjoyment, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.